Did I ever tell you the definition of insanity? The definition of insanity. 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 Insanity is doing the exact...
Yo, I got a hot take. Madden 25 sucks. Did I ever tell you the definition of insanity? That's so awful. It's a lot of you in Madden, the video game franchise that excels in releasing the same product over and over again. Even I knew this back in 2020 with my Madden 21 review. By the way, if you want to watch that video, find some lo-fi music and play that in the background while you're watching it. The only thing I have to say about the Combine is that they said that they don't have enough footage of me. Yeah, Artlist.io was not on my radar at the time, but I digress. The point is that I, along with most people made, is that all Madden did was step back. Fast forward to current day and nothing has changed. Even in 2023, when there were articles coming out saying that Madden 24 was going to be a make or break for EA Sports.
According to a report from Insider Gaming's Mike Straw, the upcoming release of Madden 24, likely slated for its usual late August window, will be make or break for the series.
Did you fall for this? How? All they had to do was make the next installment less broken, something about fixing bugs in franchise mode or whatever. It's not like there's another company out there dropping NFL video games. Let's take a look at the reviews. Starting with IGN, they gave this game a 6 out of 10, saying that some people say the definition of insanity. Okay, wait a damn minute. I had that connection first in my think box years ago, way before this article, way before Will Berger typed this up, okay? Screen Rant, on the other hand, gave this a 7 out of 10, where a large chunk of this article is dedicated to the simulation/competitive playstyle choice, which I'm pretty sure that's been in the franchise since slavery was abolished in the USA. Pros: offers players unprecedented control over gameplay. Unprecedented.
Are you sure about that?
Madden 25's controls and customization options are satisfying for experienced players. There's a lot for veterans to tinker with and refine. This man said tinker? There's no way this man has ever played a game of football in his life. And Brian Mozambique from Forbes gave it a 9 out of 10, which is crazy, but I'm still recovering from the last article. Listen, I want you to remember these reviews while I go through this game, and the question in your mind should be, is Madden worth any of these scores? Alright, now let's start tinkering. Starting with the general gameplay, look, I'm gonna be honest with you. In my almost 10 years of playing Madden off and on, I have yet to notice a significant improvement to the overall gameplay. But that point has been hammered to oblivion, so I'll just bring up two major issues that I constantly had to deal with. Starting with issue number 1, playing on defense against all Madden CPU is basically CIA level torture. No matter what play I pick, what on-field adjustment I make, which player I control, the CPU will cook the ever-loving shit out of me. The quarterback will ignore the pressure and make perfect passes 95% of the time. Even on lower rated teams, I don't even want to think about what facing the Bills or the Chiefs would be like with this shit. Now, I'll be transparent here. My football defensive knowledge is subpar, but I have a hard time believing that almost every game I play is super close because of that. It's to the point that players resort to simulating the defense hoping that the EA gods will bless you. I'm players, by the way. I will admit that the simulation feature is pretty good, although it's funny that the best solution that players have for an issue in a game is to not play it and hope for the best. Anyways, issue number 2, the blocking is abysmal. The majority of the time I got shat on by the CPU, it's because they received a free ticket to the backfield from the lineman. And I'm not talking about those instances where the O-line gets bullied out of the way. As much as I believe that happens way too often, that's a separate issue. What I am talking about are those times where the lineman gives a defender an ocular pat down and lets him in. Dudes will pathfind to a farther target and mess up any opportunity for you to make progress down the field. This basically ruins a lot of the offensive gameplay, and there's nothing you can do about it during run plays. There are also multiple cases where the defense just no-sells the offense and tracks you down. The shit that I've seen really makes it difficult for Madden to beat the scripted allegations.
From behind the line, thanks to a great effort.
Start this drive out on the ground. One was gonna. Oh, it's a screen pass. It's all down. A quick underneath completion, and then really
Create space to take that shot downfield.
And as for the glitches, well, it's an EA game, so I expect nothing less. Football's playing ping pong after a touchdown, that happened a lot, like too many times. Players getting freaky on the field, that's a classic one. Hell, I'm pretty sure every EA sports game has their own version of this. And I'll throw the general goofiness outside of the plays into this too. I know they're not designated as glitches, but it gives you that same immersion breaking feeling. You see this a lot when a player scores a touchdown. Most of the time the score looks fine, but the teammates often look like robots while getting into their position to celebrate. And that's if they join in on a dance of joy. Sometimes they'll just jog off the field, not even acknowledging that the team just scored. But that's it for the general gameplay. Now let's talk about the game modes. At the selection screen, we have a couple of options, but you see this one right here? That's the main event. All this other shit is essentially the prelims. Sunday Night Heat, if you will. No need to worry, I have notes for these other game modes, some more than others. So ignoring the fact that this game has a season pass, we're gonna start with quick play. Here you can pit any current NFL team against each other, but still no historic teams, even though the assets are in the game, just behind a slutty cash cow that masquerades itself as a game mode. Superstar KO mode is hiding here. I never played it, but I welcome it as something else to do. And there's also the returning Pro Bowl, and with the Pro Bowl here, that means you can play in the Pro Bowl. Wait till I get into superstar mode. Moving on, inside the training camp, we have the skills trainer and the mini games. Good stuff, but that's the bare minimum. As for franchise mode, it seems that they took out the player option, and now you can either play as a coach or an owner. Whether that change was done in this game or in the last game, to be honest, that doesn't matter. What does matter is that you can no longer start a franchise mode where your wide receiver or defensive back could be a return specialist. Granted, its existence was made redundant besides that feature. I just hope that EA carried that over to the superstar mode. What? For another dose of the bright side, you can finally create custom teams, a feature that was already in Madden until they took it out for no justifiable reason, and you have to hop your fat ass off the game and onto a desktop, but hey, at least it's back, I guess. And I'm sorry guys, but that's the end of my franchise notes. People have their own go-to game mode, and this one is definitely not mine. Keep your head up though, King. Soft Drink TV probably went over franchise mode extensively. I say probably because I try not to watch any reviews on stuff I'm covering or planning to cover until I'm finished with the video. Hey, editing Jayson here. So I watched the video and he did in fact go over franchise mode extensively. Cool. Anyways, watch this clip of me being interrupted by a cat throwing hands with some other creature. Moving on to Ultimate Team, I'm messing with you. I'm not touching that whore.
Shame. You're a slut!
Cool, now we can move on to the career mode, so let's get straight into that. Madden 23's. I meant Madden 23's career mode. Look, don't worry, this is only going to take around 6 or 7 minutes, but it's worth going through because, you know, the whole definition of insanity, and I want to show how much has changed, specifically in this game mode. I also want to use the footage that I already had beforehand because I don't want it to go to waste, but I promise it's worth it, alright? Madden 23's face of the franchise starts with you selecting which team you want to be on. EA opted out of the whole Madden Combine drafting system and left us with this. That's pretty lazy. Here you can play as a quarterback, wide receiver, running back, I'm not calling it halfback, linebacker, and cornerback. The only difference between the offensive and defensive roles that's worth mentioning is that you get Bangalore from Apex Legends as your defensive coordinator. Citation needed. Since there's no rookie combine, we instead practice with the team for a little bit and start in the preseason. The story, simply put, is about you becoming the best player in the NFL, sprinkle in a handful of cutscenes and finito. These cutscenes will have you interacting with characters that are, well, barely one-dimensional. Characters include Sosa, your agent, Andy with an I, director of player personnel, a black guy, a Samoan or Native American dude, and the aforementioned lesbian. I think that dude over there might not be real either, so we'll add him to the list. By the way, I'm on the Steelers now because not even I can save the 2022 Houston Texans.
The Houston Texans went 3-13. 9-game losing streak. Bottom of the AFC conference. I'm gonna kill myself! Second worst total offense. Worst in rushing defense. Third worst in total defense.
Fucking Nick!
Wait, so why did I join the Steelers? After about 2 seasons, the game runs out of cutscenes and you're basically stuck with a glorified version of franchise mode. What? Christ almighty, does that thing come with blinkers? As for the gameplay and face of the franchise, from memory, I remember the gameplay lacking any significant improvements relative to Madden 21, and unfortunately, there were a lot of reoccurring moments of fuckery. One example includes my running back trying his absolute best to sabotage the drive, whether it's refusing to dive into the end zone because a crack pipe told him not to, or running straight into the loving arms of a defensive end running contain. There was even a time when my RB took the ball, saw a wide open, butt-naked field, and instead of potentially getting a touchdown, he spins back into a defender. Unbelievable. Another example includes a drag route, or sometimes any route that includes the receiver running directly towards the sideline. Instead of catching the ball and gliding towards the end zone, the receiver will try to cut and run towards the middle of the field for some reason. This ends up ruining the route since the receiver is too busy showing his happy feet to notice a 6'2" black guy testing if he could fit his helmet into the guy's ribcage. By the way, I checked the franchise mode to see if it would happen there as well, and no, the receiver knows how to act. It's funny because it also worked in Madden 21, so they somehow fucked this up along the way. Gee, no wonder why I mostly scrambled. One glitch that didn't happen too often, but is 100% worth mentioning, is a crib glitch. One time I booted up a game with my running back, and for some reason he brought his whole crib with him. You can even see the skyline over there, and it even followed me into the character editor. This is a AAA game. Now the gameplay stagnation could be due to something that we'll talk about later. Some of you have probably noticed it already, but let me cook. This is the Xbox One version of Madden. In terms of the gameplay loop, you start off by selecting your side activities, followed by a cutscene, and finally game day. Like I said before, after 2 seasons, it's basically a cutscene wasteland, but after you build your player up to demigod status, the side activities become obsolete, so it doesn't take much time for the cycle to digivolve to game day. This obviously means that the game mode gets repetitive in record time, and right now you're probably thinking, surely it can't get worse. Well, first of all,
don't call me Shirley.
And second of all, watch this. In my QB career, it started off pretty normal, and later during the season, I had the option to extend my contract with the team. I didn't record it on the QB side for some reason, but I signed it, okay? Fast forward to the off season, and I'm just chilling and simulating because we didn't make the playoffs. Days of our Steelers, no doubt. But the next thing you know, my black ass is on the New York Giants. No cutscene, no notification, nothing. I guess my home field is in New Jersey now. I'm gonna be hanging from the bathroom! Guys, this is the second time an EA Sports game has forced me out of a team. Apparently, the story is that the Steelers traded me along with Cole Beasley. Now, I would continue to hark on the fact that I didn't get a notification, but what I think happened is that Madden 23 glitched out. I don't think I've ever or know somebody that experienced getting traded in any Madden game so far, especially in the first season of their career. And this achievement that I got could be evidence of a glitch because I'm not sure why I'm given an award for winning a free agent bidding war as a QB. So I don't think this was an intended design of this game mode, and it could just be a bug, which doesn't make Madden look great. I mean, this is a crazy ass bug for a player to experience. Regardless, I'm rocking with the G-Men, and it's pretty much smooth sailing from here, well, by Madden standards, until at one point towards the end of the season. Now, I'm sure you guys are aware of the X Factor system. If not, highly rated players can fulfill in-game requirements and activate Super Saiyan mode temporarily. It separates the wheat from the chaff, and in Face of the Franchise mode, you can select which one you want. Now, what if I told you that you could permanently lose access to the X Factors? Because that's what happened to me. No matter what I tried, no matter what I did, no matter how many kitchen sinks I threw at it, I'm a superstar player, and there's nothing I can do about it. This is top tier Madden bullshit. Whatever, fast forward to the Super Bowl and you already know what I'm about to hit you with. The Super Bowl celebration cutscene is 10 gallons of booty milk. The confetti looks like shit and it disappears into the ether. Only a small portion of players from each team are on the field while the others are chilling like I didn't just gift these guys a fucking ring. There's a lack of media personnel swarming the winners. I'm over here acting like I didn't just give myself oh, there's the media, late as hell. Wait, why are they all the same guy? And why is this dude finger blasting his DSLR? Why are there only 4 dudes and my coach on the platform? Better yet, why is the platform so tiny? Where's the dude that's supposed to stick a microphone in my face and ask me about Disney World or something? Why is there nobody around the platform? And why is the rest of my team still on the sidelines? This is what happens when a company has no competition. After winning another Super Bowl, my contract ended and I entered free agency. Pretty sure I was not offered an extension, and I think that only happens once in a game mode. Top tier Madden bullshit if true. Either way, here's the free agency screen. Wow, this shit is so ass. First of all, what the hell do they mean by scheme fit? I know they gave a sentence explaining what it is at the beginning of the game mode, but why is there no description as to what particular scheme it is for that team and how I fit into it? Speaking of teams, why am I not able to see any of the rosters? Not even the overall rating, not even a list of the X Factors. I can't discuss the contract length or how much money / Madden VC I want in free agency. You know, a period where players discuss what they want. Gnarly. I ended up signing with the Broncos, kind of funny considering what happens in Madden 25. 25, and it turns out that this team had 0 X factors, including me. It doesn't matter anyways because I pretty much called it quits on this game mode. The only event worth mentioning is when I got into the 99 club. They gave me a trophy and cleats that I cannot wear. Tight. And that is Face of the Franchise mode, a sloppy ass repetitive experience. It's not even an improvement from Madden 21's career mode. As a matter of fact, we lost shit in exchange for, well, nothing. At least Madden 21 gave you a pre-NFL story and you can name your high school of Confederacy. Less shittier times, I guess? Anyways, I'm sure some of you are wondering what that something was when I was talking about the gameplay stagnation. Well, that something was referring to the fact that this is the Xbox One version, and the game was also released on the 9th generation consoles. That's right, EA pulled an NBA 2K and basically focused all of their energy on the newer consoles while neglecting the last gen. This is a secondary reason as to why I didn't release a video on Madden 23 and 24. The versions I played on didn't have any new Golden Gamma Delta Omni movement animations or whatever the hell they were advertising. I did play Madden 24 on the PC, which had the same stuff that the Xbox Series X and the PS5 had, but then I ran into the primary reason as to why I shelved the video. I think my PC needs mental health counseling. Now, the fact that this version of Madden 23 was on an older gen console should mean that Madden 25 on a newer, faster, $500 PlayStation 5 should be way better than its obsolete predecessor. Well, let's find out. In Madden 25 Superstar mode, it starts off with you creating your player, you know, the usual. And the first improvement I noticed was the upgrade to the character creation. This was probably done a couple of games before on this newer gen, but a good job nonetheless. There was also a change in the player archetype system, which is also good stuff. I don't know what Madden 23 was thinking with that 3 body types fuckery. And to keep the compliments going, we can choose to go through the NFL draft or pick whatever team you want to join. This is one of those rare moments where both sides are actually satisfied. Once you're finished creating your player and messing with the league settings, you're set to the Combine in Indiana. I've heard great things about that place. And unfortunately, the good job streak comes to an end, albeit on a nitpick, but I don't care, fuck you. Why am I, along with the other rookies, wearing sneakers? Lucas Oil uses turf because they hate football players, and the participants wear cleats for the majority of the activities, but especially on the 40-yard dash. See, this guy's wearing, this guy's wearing cleats.
Look at that bubble butt.
At least you can retry the drills if your first attempt was ass. I mean, I would never do such a thing because I ace all of them. Another part of the Combine is the optional interview. Sadly, it's not the IQ test. If you didn't eat breakfast this morning, how would you feel? Fuck! I actually did pretty well, and I didn't cheat this time around, but I still got punished by getting drafted to the Broncos, so that sucks. Around this time, you'll notice that the majority of the cutscenes lack voice acting, and instead rely on sleek and artistic subtitles. This is a double-edged sword, but I understand if this means that they have more time and space to focus on adding more depth to the game mode. LMAO is in parentheses here on the teleprompter, so here's a new and improved cycle. I got quotations around new and improved. A cutscene that ends with you getting a quest and or stat boost to you, a teammate, or an opponent. Drills, or sometimes you'll get these workouts to choose from that boost one stat and kill another. Not worth a gamble to be honest. And finally, game day. Don't let this cycle summarization fool you. There's still more stuff to do / look at in this game mode. For example, we can check the Superstar path to see your player progress. At each milestone, you're rewarded with permanent bronze, silver, and gold buffs, Madden VC along with its cousin XP boost and respect token, celebration animations, and their collection of ugly ass color puke and accessories. The Superstar path is fueled by the quest lines that will also reward you with stuff, even more gear, skill points, and most importantly, the X factors. The first one is relatively easy to acquire, but the others are usually a wild ass goose chase. I can kind of understand the intent behind making you complete a couple of quests before unlocking a new temporary cheat code, but did EA have to lock some of the tasks between home and away games? It's bad enough that I have to wait until I'm on the road to shed 10 blocks on my cornerback, but I have to throw a 70+ yard touchdown while I'm playing an away game on my quarterback? Are you smoking crack? It shouldn't be this tedious, especially when you can only use them in the league. I'm not even sure if you can use superstar abilities in showdown mode. Wait, I forgot to talk about showdown. Oh well, here's a wallet text. You might be expecting me to say my inadvertent catchphrase at this point, and you are absolutely correct. That's really it outside of game day. Moving on to the gameplay itself, I'm going to go through all of these positions, but place most of my energy on the QB position. It's worth noting that I played on all Madden on every player. Kind of explains the whole throwing multiple ill-advised passes issue that I had going on. You know, I for some reason thought that the harder difficulty would result in my teammates not being dumbasses, but my main intentions were to get the most accurate NFL experience. LOL in retrospect. With that out of the way, let's start with the defensive positions. The first thing I noticed when I got on the field is a grading system. Madden finally caught up with damn near every sports video game, but of course, it's super scuffed. Pertaining to the defense, I have a minor issue with the fact that this counter doesn't keep score of the assist tackles. In terms of a more annoying issue, you get penalized for shit that your teammates do, whether it's allowing a first down, a big gain, or a touchdown. If your team allows it, that's negative points on your ass. I know that football is unique from a sport like basketball, and that you need all 11 dudes on both offense and defense to be on their top tier shit to succeed. There's not a lot of recent success stories in the NFL that are comparable to that of LeBron putting on his backpack and carrying the Cavs to an NBA championship. However, it is still a strange choice to have your teammate grade be affected by what your CPU homies do on the field. I'm over here locking down my defender, completing my assignment, and on the other side of the field, my defensive back is selling the game. How is that my fault? It'd be like if I was playing NBA 2K and my teammate got dunked on because my other teammate was snoozing, and the game puts me down to a C-. I should be primarily judged on whether or not I'm doing my job correctly. Hot take, I don't even think I should have much of a say as to what play we're running, at least until I'm captain, and it still should be simplistic. I should only be burdened by the on-field adjustments and maybe a play audible if I see something crazy. Of course, it should be a situation where the player can choose this or the classic option. Now, the teammate grade only contributes to how much XP you'll get, but it's still a shit mechanic. Focusing on the defensive positions individually for a bit, for the linebacker, the only incentive to play as one is the choice to run around with 99 tackle / hit power and give your ops CTE. There's no opportunity to pull a JJ Watt and catch a touchdown because that requires EA to think about the concept of fun. On the cornerback side, to fulfill my first foreshadow, you are not able to return punts or kickoffs, not even as a wide receiver either. And since there's no longer a player franchise mode, this feature has been sent to the graveyard. How long until EA brings this back as a new feature? So much for having variety. I have no incentive to care about this position in this game mode. Let's move on. On both my wide receiver and running back players, I got drafted by the Carolina Panthers. I probably should have restarted and picked a different team to make this less confusing, but that kind of logical thinking was absent a long time ago. Lo siento. But hey, at least they look different enough. Anyway, starting with the wide receiver, like I said earlier, you can't return punts or kickoffs, so we're just stuck with the offense where I'm at the mercy of my CPU quarterback, Bryce Young, whose profile photo is significantly larger than everybody else's for some reason. But guys, brothers, my N-words, I have news to share regarding Bryce Young. He is absolutely dog shit in this game mode. However, I'm going to push this back a little bit so you can get a better idea of how the two positions play first. On the wide receiver side, I'm glad that the teammate grade focuses more on your performance rather than your team. The primary test is how well you run your route, ranging from a poor, good, or perfect route run. But once again, EA finds a new way to piss you off. The problem here is that the game does not give you an explanation as to why they rewarded you or penalized you for the route you ran. Am I going too fast? Am I going too slow? Pause. Am I cutting at the right time? Nah, bro. No feedback on what I should have done. Just figure it out. It also doesn't help that there's no team practice or coaching, which screws me over on these plays where my route depends on the defensive positioning. Like, what am I supposed to do here? Can I get a Forza style route highlighter or something? Is EA expecting me to look up on the internet how these routes work? That's crazy. Another issue that takes some time to get used to is the call for pass function. To call for one, you're supposed to press the X button or the A button if you're on Xbox, or the spacebar or some shit if you're insane enough to play Madden on PC with a keyboard and mouse. The problem is that the types of catches you make are locked to the face buttons, with triangle being the aggressive option, square being the run after catch, and X being the possession catch, also known as the I just caught a cramp catch. With the overlap on the X button, you can imagine how many times I could have got more yards if it wasn't for my player curling into fetal position. This issue could be easily solved by having all the catch buttons double as a call for pass button, or have you hold the X button if you want to curl into a ball. I don't know, I'm just spitballing here. On the topic of catching passes, there seems to be an issue where lob passes are rare, because the amount of times I was open but the pass was so damn low, bro, I can't even remember the last time I was led with a pass. But this could be due to EA basically slandering Bryce, so I don't know. Transitioning to the running back for a bit, the same route issues I brought up beforehand apply here as well, but along with that, you'll get penalized for losing yards no matter what. My lineman will get blown up worse than that one house in Philadelphia in 1985, and somehow that's on me. There's also the minor issue that starting running backs often sit out for a couple of plays to recover, but I guess here we never get tired or hurt despite getting popped on multiple occasions. We'll talk about the injuries later, but based on my Iron Man body composition and my OJ numbers during my rookie season, I should have won MVP. Alright, now we can talk about my quarterback. Look, so I didn't really follow the Panthers during the 2024-2025 season too closely, so I'm kind of ignorant to their performance, so I'm gonna ask you guys, Is Bryce Young a terrorist of some sort? Because based on his game, this man needs to be thrown under the jail. From an outside perspective, I thought that he performed poorly during the beginning of the season, but improved during the final stretch. But here in Madden 25 Superstar mode, this man is terrible to the likes that I've never seen before. I don't know how in the 9 circles of hell did this man continue to plop out shit performance after shit performance across 2 separate careers nonetheless. He is a threat to everyone, men, women, the children, cats, and dogs. Like Zoink Scoob, I don't think that's really a dog at the end of that leash. This man will throw interception after interception after interception after interception after interception, and then will have the balls to ask you to step up. Huh? This man will see me blanketed by the defense, not asking for a pass, and say fuck it, we ball, and throw it anyway.
Well, that's into a sea of bodies, and it's intercepted.
As you can see, it does not work out too well. This man will see a play where receivers are running bait routes so the other options can be left wide open, and then proceed to throw it to the bait route. This man was the main reason why the team would lose so many games, and regardless of this is an accurate representation of his skills, there was never a point where the coaches would say something along the lines of, we need to bench this kid. Mainly because there's no mechanic in place to bench players unless they're injured. You know, being benched because of your performance, the one situation that is very common in real life. There's also no tanking mechanic that I know of either, so this is just another instance of EA scoffing at the concept of depth and accuracy.
You had 14 carries for 48 yards and 0 touchdowns today. Do you see any adjustments you need to make?
Bro, I am a fucking running back. My game depends on alignment. If my lineman can't block, then I am screwed. What type of adjustments I need to make? How about you talk about Bryce Young's adjustment? That guy is ass. Honestly, even if I was on a non-jihad team, I'm sure the cycle would not be enough to keep me interested. I'm not really impressed. But most of that ammunition is saved for the quarterback career. And since I'm done shit talking the other positions, let's move on to the main event of the main event, if you will. Starting with the grading system, the game completes the royal flush by having your teammate grade deteriorate for dumbass reasons. You'll get points taken off for getting sacked no matter the situation, so if you get stuck in a play action animation, a play that was recommended to you by the way, and Max Crosby hits you with a jackknife powerbomb while calling you a bitch ass nigga, the game will happily pass the blame onto you, and don't you dare fumble the ball, even if the lineman missed their assignment. I think the dumbest example of grade robbery has to do with the 3rd down conversions. You already get points taken off for your running back not being able to convert a 3rd and 1, which is already stupid, but you can also lose points for kneeling on 3rd down. We're already winning. Did they seriously not think about this scenario and adjust accordingly? Alright, moving on, I guess I should talk about my quote-unquote story. On the Broncos, nothing much really happened besides a lot of losing, but after a couple of seasons, I noticed that something was off. Where the fuck is Cortland? My star receiver that later unlocked his X Factor was nowhere to be found, and this is another annoying issue that this game mode has. Superstar mode does a poor job showing you the significant changes that were made to the team. No screen that summarizes the major movements or improvements, just manually check the depth chart and the team transactions, like it's a chore or something. So Court fucked off to Kentucky or whatever, and I'm assuming that we got CeeDee Lamb in return after he left the Jerry Jones plantation.
It's against the law for niggas to ride horses in this territory.
Eventually, I made it to the Super Bowl, a much more difficult feat this time around, and I was rewarded with Kate Scott doing commentary. I'm starting to think this game hates me. And before you ask, no, I'm not that sexist. For example, I have no issue listening to Doris Burke talk basketball. Kate just sounds like she has a Ruger pointed to her head. Anyways, I beat the brakes off the Eagles, and now it's time for one more look at Madden's Super Bowl winning cutscene. You know, at least it's better than Madden 23's. Some would say it's a step in the right direction.
Madden 23 was a step in the right direction. Madden 24 was a step in the right direction. Every Madden after Madden 13 was a step in the right direction.
What are you talking about?
Don't get me wrong though, it's still not up to par. The sound is still off, the confetti still looks like shit, there's still a distinct lack of people, including players. That issue is also prevalent when looking at the sidelines during a game. They poured invisible Gatorade on the coach. But at least the stage can fit more than 5 people, and Roger Goodell is finally here, but he's off to the side doing a bouncer pose. Also, I guess the field was only open to the staff of a nearby office, and there's some mean cloning going on on over here. You know, I thought that the newer console generation would fix this. Boy, what was I thinking? It doesn't stop there, by the way. The Super Bowl locker room celebration is jarring as hell, but first we need to take a step back. When you finish a game and make your way back to the main screen, the background will have a cutscene that varies depending on if you won or lost. Most of them look unnatural, and for some reason they keep repeating until you end the week. This is another strange decision for EA to make, because not only does it look even more unnatural than it already was, I go from being in the locker room already to entering it, but there's also only a handful of cutscenes, so it'll keep cycling and you'll end up seeing all of them within 2 minutes. My least favorite one is where your teammate is walking past you making eye contact, but then looks away in disgust. This of course happens when you lose a game. I interpret that as him getting pissed off at me, and I'm over here like, I put up generational numbers, don't get mad at me, get mad at Bryce Muhammad over there. Also, there was one point where I kept seeing copies of myself for some reason. Anyways, back to the Super Bowl. When we get to the locker room, we see a couple of cutscenes where there's only like 12 dudes here, including my twin brother, and we're having the most awkward celebration ever while in our full gear. Have you ever seen a locker room after a Super Bowl win? Fuck it, after any game? The pads come off because that shit is uncomfortable. We're gonna move on for the 20th time. I'm too tired to think of a seamless transition. After a couple of seasons, you realize that the cutscenes are super sparse, and most of them repeat after completing a season. At the start of every off season, your coach will talk about what you want to focus on. You'll get the same kind of text message of the weather being terrible on game day, a talk with your coach on what you want to do during bye week, pause, an interview with a woman that varies in setting and topic, but her clothes don't change at all. Maybe have her wear something that doesn't stick out, like a person who showered before going to a Yu-Gi-Oh tournament, etc. You'll keep seeing these same sets of cutscenes every season, and the fact that they pulled a Fallout 4 by giving you only 2, sometimes 3 responses to questions makes it even more bare bones. At least Fallout 4 had the excuse of the main character being voice acted for the first time in the series. Don't get it twisted, I understand that some of these cutscenes are worth repeating, but the lack of variety will eventually drain you. And on the topic of cutscene quality, how is Madden 23 clearing you out badly right now? Specifically in the 99 Club presentation. We went from being gifted a trophy in your crib with Sosa bigging you up and other dudes recording you, to Fred Taylor calling you for a video chat. Now, it's already crazy to FaceTime another man, but it's even more insane to make direct eye contact with another man while FaceTiming him. He didn't even say no homo. What is this world coming to? Seriously though. It is really gay to do that. It is disappointing to see this downgrade, and it's the same for every major award you win in this game mode. And they thought they were being slick by putting the award behind the player during the FaceTime call instead of having the player receive it during a ceremony like in real life. You ain't slick. You ain't slick. At least in Madden 23, you can see some of the trophies you won in the background from time to time. By the way, what do you think they reward you for entering the 99 Club this time around? A new piece of accessory? Can I wear jewelry on the field as long as the keep to leave is barred from the stadium? Is it those cleats that I saw the last time around that I can actually wear?
Is it nothing?
It's nothing, not even a PS5 trophy. Why am I not surprised and somehow disappointed at the same time? Semi-related, after playing a couple of games, you'll get a cutscene telling you about a potential sponsorship with Oakley. I find it funny in a laughing at them, not with them way, that you can't decline a sponsorship no matter how much you try. Your agent will give you the quest anyway. However, the shitty part about this is that this is the only sponsorship in the game that you'll ever get.
Citation needed.
After I won the Super Bowl, again, against the Eagles, again, and the game wasn't really that close, again, and it's Super Bowl 59, again. These two were coincidences, but this one right here is some shit. They didn't even remove the number because I guess they really want you to know how much they don't care about attention to detail. At least the Gatorade tank is filled this time. After the win, my contract expired, but I think something glitched out when I tried to activate a cutscene, and the next thing you know, I'm at the free agency screen. You're seeing my face right now and not the footage I'm describing. Well, guess what happened to my Elgato? Yep, my Elgato overdosed, again, and by the time I noticed, it was already too late. Again, I think he needs rehab. But I have not lied to you yet, so I want you to take my word on this. To be honest, it doesn't matter if you don't believe me, because watch this. On the free agency screen, there's already a bunch of issues that I have to bring up, but let's stay on track. As you can see, I have the option to sign with any team in the NFL, except for the Broncos. They are completely absent from this list, which means I can't stay with my original team if I enter free agency, even though you can do that in real life. Hell, you were able to do that in Madden 23. How the hell did this option disappear over the years? So regardless of if you believe me or not, the fact that I can't resign with the Broncos on his screen is extremely stupid. This is the third time already that EA has kicked me out of a team for no valid reason. Hello, it's editing Jayson here again. I ended up making progress on my running back to the point that my rookie contract ended. Yeah, I didn't re-sign with that poverty franchise. And besides finding out that not all of your CPU quarterbacks are paint huffers, well at least not Joe Burrow, I also found out that you can re-sign with your original team, sometimes. As you can see, the Panthers are right there. However, there's still one team missing from this list.
How come you don't want me, man?
So it is possible to re-sign with your OG team during free agency after declining their initial offer, but sometimes you can't. Whether or not that's dumber than not being able to re-sign with them at all as I had originally thought, I'll let you decide. As for the free agency screen itself, bro, this is the same exact shit, imperfections and all. No team has a position grade over a D, even though I'm a 99 overall. The Seahawks didn't even give a rating. There's still no explanation of a scheme fit for that specific team. There's still no way to check the rosters. There's still no way to discuss the contract length. They basically brought the same shit from last gen and tossed it in your face.
Clears throat. This is a AAA.
I ended up signing with the Falcons, but I was already checked out mentally. And when I checked out the legacy board that I forgot about until now, I knew it was time to wrap it up. My quarterback has 2 Super Bowl wins with 6 major awards in 6 seasons, and I'm barely beating out Deshaun Watson. That is a poor choice of words. And why does it matter anyways? I bet if I try to hit that number 1 spot, my reward wouldn't be worth the effort. I bet there's not even a reward to begin with. I hit the number 1 spot on my running back and didn't notice until I joined the Bengals. I think that speaks for itself. So that's the end of my story, but I don't feel like I'm done here though. So let's talk about the issues that I had left out. Remember my Pro Bowl spiel? No worries, it's been like 300 minutes. Well, despite it being in the game and that you can see yourself on the roster if you qualify, you can't play it. Lovely. Sometimes at the end of games, players on the field will teleport to the sidelines to show up in a cutscene. Your sleeves have a mind of its own. Sometimes they won't even show up when equipped. I had to resort to wearing these baggy ass joints. Speaking of accessories, other players can wear headbands, tactical koofies, and even do-rags, but you can't. You gotta wait until Madden 26 for that. Maybe. The beginning of the season goal has remained unchanged for as long as I remember. I think this shit has been like this since Madden 19. Remember when I shelved injuries? Well, here you go. One major issue that I have is that you can't get injured. I know it might sound strange, but let me cook. Injuries are an integral part of an athlete's career, and damn near every star has to go through that injury arc. So it's weird seeing your player play every damn down, every damn game, and every damn season without getting hurt, while everybody else is getting a boo-boo every 2 minutes, it seems. I know some of you might say that giving EA the keys to that will end up biting us in the ass, just like the doctor stoppages in UFC 5, but a good idea is still a good idea despite the poor execution. Going to the next issue, contract extensions are somehow no longer a thing altogether, and I can't request a trade either. The NFL record book is weak as hell. It only shows you the career records, even though the game will present season records. Snow games are ass, the footsteps don't affect the snow, no big ass jackets, no heaters, no groundskeepers working. Halftime reports are weak as hell. You're telling me you can't create and show highlights from other games? Visors don't adhere to blur. Players practice in their game day gear and always in full pads too. No coin toss unless it's overtime, strange choice. No pitch option plays, I don't care if they're not viable in real life. No trick plays outside of special teams, let me do the Philly special, let me have my running back throw or run a flea flicker for fun. The stat checking is still ass, there's no way to check my numbers season by season, I can't have multiple saves for one position, and finally, Superstar mode is always online, and God forbid the servers act up because EA will kick you out of the game you're playing. I'm sure there's a lot more that I didn't mention, but I'm at 51 pages in this document and I want to know what good sleep feels like. Now in terms of suggestions, I'll keep it succinct, partly because of what I said in the last sentence, but also because I feel like I'm talking to a brick wall here when it comes to EA. So here we go. Here's the stuff that you should add to Superstar mode to make it not terrible. First, implement a team, teammate, coach, and fan relationship system. And when I say teammate, you can focus on the best players from each group instead of every player. Have that stuff affect your job security too. Add a Superstar personality system while you're at it, and you could have it intersect with a proper sponsorship system that the game needs to work on. Actually put depth in a grading system and give it more incentives for players to get higher grades, and punish them fairly if they keep getting low grades. Add position battles before the start of every season until the player has reached star status. Add a proper rivalry system. When players aren't on the field, give them the option to watch the last couple of minutes of the game. Break into 2K's office and steal their simulate the rest of the game feature during blowouts. Give me a trophy room where I can inspect shit RDR2 style. Include a list of records that I've broken to and detail all all that with a day that I've earned them. Add free practice, there's no way that's a difficult feature to implement. Break into 2K's office again and take their GOAT leaderboard. There should be legends on the list, and every tier I enter should reward me with something worth my time. Give the player a photo of the entire roster during a Super Bowl winning season. Yes, the entire roster, the PS5 can handle it. And finally, when you fix that damn contract system, give the player the ability to tamper and recruit players to teams. And even do some off-season KD super team shenanigans. Of course, balance it. Alright, cool. Now let's get to the conclusion. So those scores I told you about at the beginning of this video, tell me, do you think this game is worth a 9 out of 10? How about a 7? A 6? I'll tell you right now, Madden is not even worth a 5 out of 10. This game is slop that had the balls to ask you for $70. It's filled with issues from older games that people have been constantly bringing up, along with a new list of problems that we have to deal with. Superstar mode is still struggling to reach mediocrity, and it's denser than all get out. Now this would be the part where I'll talk about the alternatives you could take, you know, emulation, waiting until the newest Madden is on the Game Pass, blah blah blah. You probably already know this stuff already. I'd rather leave you with this summarization of the future of Madden that is in no way new or thought-provoking. A lot of you guys are participating in the definition of insanity when it comes to Madden. It's basically the same product every year, and if you're expecting things to change for the better, then you are wasting your time.